So today we're going to have a little bit of a discussion topic because this is a topic that's been picking up steam online. I feel like I might have talked about this before, but hey, this is my 2024 update. If you disagree with my opinion on this, that is awesome. I would give you a gold star sticker if I could, but I can't because I'm not mailing out some gold star stickers. I'm not a retro gaming YouTuber. I'm not a Nintendo YouTuber. I'm a mustache YouTuber. Get it right, folks. But today we're going to be talking about video game reselling and video game reselling culture, because once again, seems to be like a topic that's popping up again. People have differentiating opinions on them. So I want to sort of look at both sides of the coin with this and then just give you guys my thoughts and opinions on this, because I'm someone that's been around this culture for a very, very long time. Now, what is a video game reseller? We need to get our definitions out of the way. A video game reseller, to me, is somebody that purchases a video game or a video game console, instruction book, controller, whatever, anything video game related at a lower price in order to sell it for a higher price. This isn't like collections and stuff like that. It is to make a profit. And when you look at any business model, buy low, sell high is always going to be the name of the game. It's always going to be how you get your profits in line. If you're buying stuff that's, you know, something that's worth $500 and you spend $600 on it, you're taking a loss on that. It's not good business. You'll be going out of business in absolutely no time. So video game selling and resellers, it's kind of like any sort of niche community that has a demand for products. You know, think about how Beanie Babies were back in the day. People were spending hundreds of dollars on things that cost $5 because there was a demand for it, a consumer demand for it. In my opinion, consumer demand, not necessarily game rarity, is what causes video game prices to go as high as they do. When you take a look at a game like Earthbound, now Earthbound is a quirky RPG game. There really wasn't anything quite like it on the market when it came out, but Earthbound wasn't a complete flop. Like, yeah, it didn't sell as many units as Super Mario World or, you know, Super Mario Brothers 3 or something like that, but it sold like over 100,000 copies, and that's with some bad documentation. I'm sure it was closer to like 200, maybe 300,000 copies that were sold. But the problem with that is it's not necessarily a rare game, it's a desirable game. And since it's desirable, less people are willing to part with it because they genuinely like the game. And the people that are willing to part for it see what the game sells for in the marketplace. If I tell you I have this pretty much drank can of Zevia Black Cherry, who has still not given me a sponsorship yet. What the hell are we waiting on here, Zevia? But if I said, you know, I have this can of Zevia Black Cherry, how much are you willing to give me for this? You know, in reality, this can, if it was full, it's like 75 cents a can, $1 a can or something like that. If somebody says I'm willing to give you $100, I would be stupid to not sell it for $100. People dictate the price of something. If you have something highly priced and it just sits there forever, and somebody comes along and offers you a lower offer than what you're asking, more than likely you'll take that because it's just sort of sitting there. Anyways, now that we got the definitions out of the way, let's look at video game reseller culture on YouTube, because this isn't really a newer phenomenon like some people are making it out to be, because there are channels, you know, a decade old plus that have been doing video game reseller stuff as a primary focus of their channel. Of course, there's the Florida boys like Aaron Kasharsky. I mean, what can you say about Karki? Well, what can you really say about him? But then there's someone like Scott Squatch. I've known Scott Squatch for a very, very long time. The whole basis of his channel was he would go to flea markets or conventions or different places trying to get games at lower prices, and then he had like this big spread at a flea market, and he would sell games at the flea market for pretty much asking value, at least at that time, pretty much what they were going for, you know, anywhere. But at least he got, you know, a clean working copy, this, that, or the other. And he was kind of one of the pioneers of this style of YouTube video. He would do trades with people. Sometimes he would come out on the better end of trades, but really like a trade for something that really is just supply and demand. If you have something that I want and you're willing to give me something that's worth more value in terms of money, but it's not valuable to you because you don't care about this game, then of course I'm going to do the deal. Like, you know, it's your prerogative. A lot of this falls onto the person. You know, you can go to a flea market, find a bunch of $3 video games. Why are those games $3? Is it because they're worth $3? No, it's because the person doesn't care about them. The person has a cell phone. The person can look at their cell phone, see what this is selling for, and then charge appropriately. They just want to get rid of it. They just want to make a few bucks. You want to put in the legwork of listing it on eBay, paying the fees, or sell it at a convention. That is on you. People just like to get rid of stuff sometimes. And then, of course, we have the influx of all of these channels, all of these different people doing video game reseller stuff. And I will be honest with you. There wasn't a whole lot of pushback when Scott was doing these videos. You know, sometimes people were like, "Oh, you ripped that guy off," and it's like, well, you know, he agreed to it, so how did I rip him off? But it never got super crazy. But with this new generation of reselling channels, you know, I was surprised that everyone just welcomed them with open arms. I was surprised that everyone was like, "Wow, this is great content. I love it." Because to me, as someone watching this from the sidelines, I'm like, man, I feel like if these people would have been like 3 years earlier, people would have crucified these people, you know, because there's so much drama and BS in the retro video gaming community. I'm not a part of any community. I'm part of the Hulk Hogan collecting community. Shout outs to Michael LaPuma, the Michael Jordan of Hulk Hogan collecting. That's the market I'm in nowadays. I got a cool Hulk Hogan room. I'm going to show it off one day. But these people are all nice, normal people. There's no drama. There's no nonsense. But the video game community is the complete opposite of that. And you would think that the Hulk Hogan community would be like that because it's wrestling, and wrestling is like the most toxic fan base in the world, but it's not. But people just welcome these channels with open arms. And then as these channels started to get bigger, you know, the pushback starts to happen, just like with any YouTuber. You know, "Oh, you've changed. You make different stuff now. You've changed. You changed your personality," this, that, or the other. Whatever people want to say. But I was genuinely surprised at how many people were fine with this. But now we're getting to that pushback stage once again. We're getting to that stage of where people are like, "Hey, wait a minute. This isn't cool. I don't like this person's tactics. I don't like what this person is doing. I don't like this whole mantra because they are controlling the video game market." The difference kind of between, you know, the older style of reselling versus the newer style of reselling is a lot of these retailers have like storefronts. And if they don't have storefronts, they have large inventories in their house, and they're doing a lot of online sales as well, or in-person sales outside of something like a flea market or something like that, or a gaming convention. Like, these people are video game resellers for a complete living. With Scott, it was more of just a hobby that was lucrative to him because he was like a roadie for Korn. I think he still is a roadie for Korn. So he would go on the road with Korn, and then he would come back and he would set up at the flea market. So, you know, it worked for him because, you know, you had money coming in from two different ways. But a lot of these people, you know, it's not a hobby to them. It's more of a dedication. Now, video game reselling, do I think it's, you know, a bad thing for the hobby? The answer is really yes and no, because to me, retro game collecting as a hobby is dead. Like, no real retro gaming collector is going out there and spending these exorbitant prices on these games. They're doing the same thing that the reseller is doing, except instead of buying it to flip it for a profit, they're buying it to have it sit on a shelf. And maybe it gets a little bit of play from time to time. But then again, you know, it's probably just sitting away on that shelf rotting. So the only people that are really buying from resellers are a more casual audience who doesn't think to educate themselves, to think, well, how much is this really worth? They don't care. They have some expendable income, so they're willing to pay whatever price it is if the person has what they want. They want this instantaneous fix. They don't want to do something like eBay or Mercari, or, you know, drive around to different garage sales on Facebook Marketplace. They just want that instant gratification, which is something that a reseller, especially a reseller with like a store or a large online inventory that sells online inventory, that's something that they can give them, and give them, you know, that immediate satisfaction. Like I said, I'm not paying any exorbitant prices for these retro games, because if I want to play the game, I'll emulate the game. And I feel like most people are getting to that point where it's like, It's not worth it to spend $1,700 on Snatcher. Great game. Snatcher's awesome. I'm not spending $1,700 on it. I'm buying one of these emulation handhelds or mini PCs that come preloaded with all of these games on it. And I'm going to sit there, I'm going to turn on the device, and I'm going to go and I'm going to play the game at higher resolutions with higher graphical fidelity than I could get on my Sega CD or my N64 or my PlayStation 1. If it's really about the games and playing the games, then nobody should really care about the reseller aspect of stuff, because you're not their target audience. You're not their consumer. You're smarter than that. You realize, hey, well, I'm not paying, you know, all this money to someone who's selling a game. I'm just going to play it on an emulator or something like that. And emulation has gotten so simple nowadays that anyone could do it. Anyone could buy these preloaded things. And even if you just play the stuff that's preloaded on there, you could have a good time. Now, people got mad at me because I sold my collection to a reseller, Phoenix Resale. People are like, oh, I can't believe you sold it to a reseller. You know why I sold it to a reseller? Because I wanted it gone. I wanted space. I didn't need the money. I needed the space in my house. I wanted more space in my house. I'm not going to sit there and list all these products individually, and then when they sell, go to the post office and ship off these items and deal with eBay and stuff like that. I didn't care. I just wanted a decent enough price for the games, and then they could go anywhere. Anyone could have made me an offer, and some people did make me offers. It's just when you get to higher dollar stuff, your people become more limited. So that's what I did. I sold it and put it all in a box, handed it to him, and he went on his merry way, and I had some money. Everyone was happy. I was happy with what I got for it. It's like those people that sell games at a flea market. Sure, they could list those products on eBay and probably get more money. They could probably change the asking price on the products that they have selling there, but they don't care. They just want to get rid of it. I have this. I don't want it. Take it from me. Here is a good, fair price. And then you get into the aspect of, you know, resellers potentially taking advantage of people. And I think that's a serious topic. And it's not quite as simple as people make it out to be, because I feel like a lot of this stuff is played up for the camera. You got to remember, YouTube at the end of the day is a form of entertainment. These people are vlogging their video game related adventures of buying and selling and trading crap. And there's a lot of hokiness to it. Like a lot of the YouTube gaming sphere is pretty small. The gaming community, which I'm not a part of any community except the Hulk Hogan collecting community. Shout outs to Michael LaPuma. We're in this together, brother. But I'm not a part of any of these communities because I don't buy video games willy-nilly anymore or collect retro games. But all these people that are in it, whether they're smaller channels or bigger channels, they all know each other. Okay, so a lot of it is acting towards the camera, acting to make something like, I ripped off this video game store. It's like you're friends with that dude. I've seen that dude in your videos before, breaking bread with him, talking to him. Like, you're not fooling me. But people get into the entertainment aspect of it. If these resellers are actually doing dirty shit, like, screw them. Like, screw them. Like, you know, if somebody is doing something dirty, no matter what it is, like, that's not a good person. And that's not a person that you should watch and support. And, you know, I understand that there have been some select instances. I haven't seen anything too, like, damaging with some of these resellers. But, you know, I always think, are we just playing this up for the camera? Because if I'm going to do something dirty, well, when I was younger, we used to do stupid shit on camera, but we were kids. We didn't know any better. But if I'm going to do something dirty, I'm not documenting that. I'm not putting that shit on my YouTube channel. No, sir. No, sir. There will be no evidence of that. No face, no case. Like, I feel like a lot of these instances that people pick up on in the videos, it's all planned. It's all planned for entertainment purposes. I can't say that a full 100%. I would assume that these people are smart enough to know that. I mean, they are running big businesses with this video game reselling stuff. But, you know, that is a bit of an assumption on my part. But you would think that there would be a bit of smarts involved in it. At the end of the day, it's just, you know, and you get into the whole aspect of, oh, you know, they're taking advantage of their audience or something like that. And it's like, bro, if I have this game at a convention and that, you know, it's a $30 game. I don't know what this is worth, but let's say it's a $30 game and somebody wants to give me a $60 for it because they're a fan of mine. Why would I say no? Like, who turns down money? Like, this person could go buy it from another seller for $30. They could go, you know, they could go on eBay and buy it. You know, if someone is doing a Whatnot stream and someone's willing to pay $100 for this $30 game because it comes from my collection and they're a fan of me, how is that taking advantage of anyone? The person knows. And if the person doesn't know, they should know. Like, some of this has to fall onto the consumer at the end of the day. I don't know. I feel like I've been rambling, repeating myself potentially. But just get out of this. Get out of this whole culture of retro game collecting. Leave it behind. Sell all your stuff. Get a mini PC. Get a preloaded thing. Play the games. Who cares about this? You know how often I touch these games, these limited amount of games I have on my shelf? Never. Never since I sold the vast majority of my collection have I touched and played these games because I just played them on a freaking emulator. Be smart. Unless you got some expendable income, and then buy it. But if you don't want to pay the price, don't pay the price. I don't know. There's got to be some accountability here on the individual. You know what I'm saying? I don't think all resellers are scum, but if you do, then props to you, man. You are more than allowed to feel that way. I'm not a part of their community anyways, so my opinion doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But some people like to listen to me. So it is what it is, man. You know? It is what it is. But let me know your thoughts on this whole situation in the comment section down below. Am I completely off base with this? Are all resellers the worst thing to ever happen to video games? Or was eBay the worst thing to ever happen to video games? Because I think that really raised the price a little bit more than some guy driving around in a van to pick up couple copies of a game and then reselling it at a convention. I don't know. And as always, guys, thank you for watching this video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're new. This video ended up going way too long. I did not plan on it going this long, but I guess I had a lot of things to say. If there's any other topics you want me to touch on, let me know on social media, because I probably won't check all these comments because there's going to be a lot of comments, I'm sure. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.